CRM was supposed to improve customer relationships. Instead, it's shorthand for can't resolve much. Which means you may have sunk a fortune into software that just bounces customer issues around but never actually solves them. On the ServiceNow AI platform, CRM stands for something better. With AI built into one platform, customers aren't mired in endless loops of automated indifference. They get what they need, when they need it. Bad CRM was then. This is ServiceNow.
It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
Talking the news with Noam Laden.
All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now,
Talking the news with Noam
on 77 WABC.
That's me, 5 o'clock. Good morning. It is Monday, September 29th. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. A mix of sun and clouds today. High 78. Tonight and overnight cloudy. Low 65, and then Tuesday mostly sunny, high 81. If you're walking out the door with us right now, 66 clear in Hempstead out on Long Island, 60 clear in Boonton over in New Jersey, and it's 64 and cloudy right outside our Midtown studios. Time for the top 5 at 5. Eric Adams drops out of the race for mayor, so does it change anything? Democrats and Republicans trying to come up with a last-minute budget deal. A crazy coyote haunts a New Jersey town. Long Islanders worried about a disease mosquitoes may be carrying around. And is your Starbucks one of the ones closing? All right, let's get into it at 5:01. Eric Adams announcing yesterday that he's ending his re-election campaign, dropping out of the race for mayor. In a video released on social media, the mayor spoke with pride about his achievements as mayor, including talking about a drop in violent crime. But he blamed the media and the campaign finance board for sinking his campaign. Here was part of this video he dropped on social media yesterday.
Constant media speculation about my future and the campaign finance board's decision to withhold millions of dollars have undermined my ability to raise the funds needed for a serious campaign.
Now, the mayor had a lot going against him. The Trump Justice Department dropped that criminal case against the mayor to free him, so it wouldn't interfere with his ability to carry out the president's immigration policy. It also made it so he could campaign, but it seemed voters had a long memory of what was taking place. Every major poll showed the mayor in a distant fourth place. Zohran Mamdani continues to dominate the race. This is the latest poll. Mamdani at 45%, Andrew Cuomo 24%, Curtis Sliwa at 17%, and the mayor in last place at 9%. So, of course, the question is, will this move the needle a whole lot? Will Adams' support go to Andrew Cuomo? Well, imagine, he hopes it will.
We are facing an existential threat in an extreme radicalism that threatens the existence of this city as we know it.
Now, Andrew Cuomo wants to clear out the race, so it's him against Zohran Mamdani. But the polls, at least the latest ones, show even when it's a one-on-one matchup, he loses by like 8 to 10 points. So then the pressure is maybe on Republican Curtis Sliwa to drop out of the race. But as you've heard here time and time again, when he's been on with Sid and Friends in the morning, when he's talking to the press, he says, no, I'm the Republican nominee. Why should I drop out of the race?
You can't motivate me to leave this race. Curtis Sliwa doesn't have a price.
Yeah, so a spokesperson for the mayor says Adam does not endorse either Mamdani or Cuomo. He didn't even mention Curtis Sliwa. But in this video, he warned New Yorkers about Mamdani without mentioning him by name.
Major change is welcome and necessary, but beware of those who claim the answer to destroy the very system we built together over generations. That is not change. That is chaos.
But the 33-year-old Mamdani, who seems to have this lead that makes him almost unbeatable unless something changes drastically, would be the city's youngest and definitely most liberal mayor in generations. And he said, even though they were to clear the race out and it was him against Cuomo, he says, I beat him again.
You got your wish. You wanted Trump and your billionaire friends to help you clear the field. But don't forget, you wanted me as your opponent in the primary too. And we beat you by 13 points. Looking forward to doing it again on November 4th.
Yeah, ouch. More from Mamdani.
Look, Donald Trump and his billionaire donors may be able to determine the actions of Eric Adams and Andrew Cuomo, but they will not dictate the results of this election.
No, so of course a lot of people asking what convinced Mayor Adams to drop out of the race. Remember, he had those meetings with White House Special Envoy Steve Witkoff. It was earlier this month, I think, and they were going to discuss a possible role in the administration. We don't have 100% proof that there was any gig actually offered to him, but in the end, he dropped out. So maybe he did offer take some sort of job.
I think we have to put this in a larger context, where after we beat Andrew Cuomo by 13 points in the Democratic primary, he called Donald Trump to ask what they could do together to defeat our campaign in the general election. And Donald Trump has spoken time and again about how he wants to narrow this race, how he wants to use every tool at his disposal to try and stop this campaign for affordability. And we're seeing, amidst all of that, here yet again, the moment where he is shaping this race. But we're going to show him that New Yorkers are tired of his politics, and they're tired of being priced out of the city.
All right. So what do you think? What do New Yorkers think? What were they saying yesterday?
I think it's smart that he stepped out because he definitely couldn't win. I just don't think he did enough for the people of New York City.
I'm glad because, that narrows the field. He didn't have a shot.
All right. So does it change the race at all? Well, I guess we'll find out come November. 5:05. Oh, those Mets, they broke so many hearts again this season. Most expensive payroll in baseball? If it's not the most expensive, it's close to being the most expensive. And, of course, they lost yesterday to the Marlins. If they had won this series with the Marlins, 3 straight, they'd be going to the wild card. They'd hold the wild card. They would have won it, but they lost again yesterday, so they are out of the playoffs. Carlos Mendoza, of course, the Mets manager, trying to explain what went wrong.
It's hard to describe, I just got done addressing the team, and there's no word to describe what we're going through. It's pain, it's frustrations, there's you name it.
Mendoza taking responsibility for losing, even though he wasn't out on the field.
Responsibility. I'm the manager. It starts with me.
Okay.
And I got to take a long look here. How I need to get better. And then that was a message into the whole team as well. This is unacceptable.
All right. Should we hear for a couple more? Sure. Why not? Let's just rub it in. Mets infielder Francisco Lindor says his team just didn't do enough at the end.
Execution. We didn't execute when we had to.
WABC News Time 5:08. As you were moaning about the Mets, it was good news for Jackson Dart and the Giants. They won. Jackson Dart's debut was great. 100 yards passing, rushed for 54 yards, scored a touchdown. He probably saved Giants coach Brian Daboll's job, at least for now anyway.
Yeah, that's his job as quarterback. Make good decisions. Convert, make the right choice. It wasn't perfect. Didn't expect it to be in his first game, but a tough opponent.
Yeah, we were jumping around the living room when Jackson Dart ran in that first touchdown.
Obviously, this experience was a special one, being my first one, and I'm just grateful to have the guys around me.
Yeah, and coming up in about 5 minutes from now, Justin Elk will have more in that big game for Big Blue. 5:09, a 22-year-old man accused of attempting to sexually assault 2 teenage girls in Brooklyn is in custody.
Police say it happened near Ocean Parkway and Ditmas Avenue in the Kensington section. Cops say Justin Lee followed the 13-year-old girl into her apartment building, grabbed her by the neck, and pushed her under the staircase. She says she wasn't hurt. Investigators say soon after that, he tried to assault a 15-year-old girl in the same neighborhood. Lee has been charged with endangering the welfare of a child and harassment. I'm Lisa Salvati.
5:09, New York State mailing out inflation rebate checks to more than 8 million New Yorkers. You may be one of them who receives them in the next couple days. Here's Governor Hochul.
This is because hardworking New Yorkers got slammed with higher costs of everything, and they had to pay more, and then they had to pay more in sales tax. So I said, why don't we give that back to New Yorkers?
Checks between $150, $400 being sent through November, with the amount depending on your income bracket and whether you are a single or joint tax filer. More than 3.5 million people just here in the city will get these checks. And the head of the Trinity Alliance, which helps low-income families, they say these checks will go a long way.
It provides a little more stability and breathing room at a time when individuals and family need it the most. With rising costs of living, everyday expenses like groceries, gas, and utilities have become harder to manage. These rebate checks provide real relief, giving families a little extra breathing room.
All right. All these casinos went down to defeat here in Manhattan, and there's so many questions. Why were they able to do away with these bids for casinos in Hudson Yards and on 42nd Street? WABC's Joe Connolly has more.
The main reason was strong local not-in-my-backyard opposition. Residents, community boards, and local elected representatives worried about increased traffic congestion, crime, noise, strain on infrastructure, and quality of life impacts. Developers had the backing of state-level officials, but one lesson they learned was that backing by state officials is not enough. They had to get local support sooner, and when they offered changes to their plans, it was already too late. Joe Connolly, 77 WABC News.
WABC News Time 511. A U.S. citizen's free after spending 9 months held by the Taliban in Afghanistan. Amir Amiri is the fifth American released by the Taliban this year. Secretary of State Marco Rubio confirming last night that Amiri had been freed after negotiations that were led by Qatar. It's not clear why he was being held by the Taliban. 5:12, an ex-Marine smashed a pickup into a Church of Jesus of Latter-day Saints church in Michigan yesterday. Opening fire set the building ablaze during a crowded service yesterday. Then he was fatally killed by police. At least 4 people inside the church were killed, 8 wounded, and authorities were searching the building for ruins into last night. Who were police?
Got here, the church was on fire, the gunman was down, and it's just been a very busy scene, as you can imagine.
The attack occurred about 10:30 yesterday morning. Hundreds of people were in this building in Grand Blanc Township. That's right outside of Flint. Apparently, the man got out of the pickup with 2 American flags raised in the truck bed and started shooting. The attacker apparently used gas to start the fire and also had explosive devices. It's not clear any of them were used, though.
I sent out a text to all our guys, everybody go, everybody on duty, everybody off duty, everybody in and gone, including myself.
Yeah, all police were on the scene. Authorities identified the gunman. Thomas Jacob Sanford. He's 40 years old, from a neighboring town called Burton. The FBI leading the investigation. Consider it right now an act of targeted violence. People inside the church, in what was really heroic form, shielded the children inside, moved them to safety during the attack, and no doubt saved their lives. But unfortunately, 4 killed. 5 if you include the gunman. His motive, that's not clear at this hour. 5:13, down to Washington. President Trump he's sending troops to Portland now to protect the city and ICE facilities there from domestic terrorists. Oregon Senator Jeff Merkley says the troops are not needed and are a distraction.
Trump is using ICE to sow fear and chaos.
The president authorized 200 members of the Oregon National Guard to perform federal functions for 60 days. That includes protecting federal property where protests had occurred or were likely to occur. The Oregon governor, Tina Kotek, says she told the president there is no insurrection or threat to public safety and that the military intervention is not needed.
The president's argument is a fable. It does not resemble the truth.
Congresswoman Andrea Salinas, she's also from Oregon, says the president can't back up his statements about violence in Portland.
It's giving him too much credit to say that he is seeing footage from 2020. He is using footage to complete his narrative.
Now, those troops sent in as ICE is increasing its presence in Portland. And Portland's mayor, Keith Wilson, says that he's seen the increase.
We have armored vehicles on the streets of Portland and reported agents throughout our community.
And Wilson is calling on Portlanders to demonstrate peacefully in the aftermath of all
We've
this.
been hearing rumors about a deployment. Today, those rumors became a reality.
And Oregon Senator Jeff Merkley says the president sending in those ICE agents and the National Guard to create chaos and riots.
To induce a reaction, to induce protests, to induce conflicts. His goal is to make Portland look like what he's been describing it as.
President pushing back against that, saying he's trying to bring in law and order to the city of Portland. In a moment, we'll go down to Washington. We'll see what's going on with the budget talks that continue today. We'll do that in just a moment. But first, 5:15, let's head over to the 77 WABC Sports Desk, where no doubt there is a well-rested Justin Ellick sitting there.
You almost forgot my name in 1 week?
While you were gone, I forgot your name, Al.
That's incredible, man. It really says a lot about our relationship,
doesn't it? Yeah.
We got to start here with the Mets completing their late season collapse here, Nome laden on the final day of the MLB season in the form of a 4-0 loss to the Marlins, failing to make the playoffs and yielding the NL's final wildcard spot to the Cincinnati Reds, who lost at Milwaukee, but held a head-to-head tiebreaker after winning the season series against New York. Mets starter Sean Manaea fanned 3 in an inning and 2/3 hitless innings, but with little margin of error. Manager Carlos Mendoza pulled Manaea following his second walk in the second inning, and reliever Huáscar Braziban got out of the inning. The Mets used 8 pitchers, including closer Edwin Diaz, who pitched scoreless innings in the 5th and the 6th. Francisco Lindor doubled in the 7th for 1 of 5 Mets hits, but New York went 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position and stranded 10 overall. The season ended when Lindor grounded into a game-ending double play. The Mets were a Major League best 45-24 through June 12th, but went 38-55 the rest of the season, and they are playing golf now. How about that? As for the Yankees, they got a little bit more left to play for. They finished 1 win shy of repeating as AL East champion and lost the division title to Toronto on a tiebreaker, despite beating the Orioles 3-2 behind a pair of Ben Rice home runs for a season-ending 8-game winning streak. Toronto beat Tampa Bay 13-4, and the Yankees and Blue Jays both finished 94 and 68. Toronto won the division on that tiebreaker because of their 8-5 advantage in the season series. New York will host Boston in a best-of-3 wildcard series starting tomorrow, with the winner advancing to a division series starting at the Blue Jays next weekend. Aaron Judge, he went 1 for 4 and won his first batting title, leading the major leagues at .331. He had 53 homers and 114 RBI. Devin Williams pitched a 1-hit 8th, and David Bednar finished for his 27 save and 30 shots. New York started 35-20, slumping during a 25-34 stretch, then closed 34-14. Up next for the Yankees, the ace Max Fried will get the start in tomorrow's wildcard series opener against Boston's Garrett Crochet. To MetLife now, Jackson Dart threw a touchdown pass and ran for another score in an impressive NFL starting debut, leading the Giants past the previously undefeated LA Chargers 21-18 for New York's first win of the season. The excitement by the Giants was a bit tempered by the status of wide receiver Malik Nabers, who was carted off the field in the second quarter with a knee injury. Dable didn't have an immediate update after the game, but the fear is that Nabers has torn his ACL. He'll undergo, an MRI today to confirm the nature of the injury. Back to Dart here. He launched a deep pass down the right sideline, a free play after the Chargers jumped offside toward a streaking Nabers. Wide receiver's right leg appeared to buckle as he went up to try to catch the pass, which fell incomplete. Dart finished 13 of 20 for 111 yards, ran 10 times for 54 yards, brushing off a hamstring injury after halftime, and a big hit from the Chargers that sent him to the medical tent for 2 plays to be evaluated for a head injury. Giants defense was also pretty stellar there in the win. Up next for the now 1-3 G-men, they'll face the Saints in New Orleans come Sunday. And tonight, the Jets in action at Miami. 7:15 p.m. kickoff there on ESPN. Dolphins, they're 2.5-point favorites. That's leg 1 of a 2-leg Monday night football series here. Bengals are at the Broncos at 8:15. Broncos, they're 7.5-point favorites. That is your Sports Dome. I'm Justin Ellick on 77 WABC.
WABC News Time 5:20. Let's go down to D.C. for those budget talks. Senate Majority Leader John Thune pointing the finger at Democratic lawmakers as the clock ticks on a government shutdown. In an interview with Meet the Press, Thune says Democrats' demands have brought true negotiations to a total standstill.
What the Democrats have done here is take the federal government as a hostage, and for that matter, by extension, the American people, to try and get a whole laundry list of things that they want, the special interest groups on the far left are pushing them to accomplish.
Thune will join House Speaker Mike Johnson, Democratic House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer for this Oval Office meeting that will take place today.
I'm very comfortable with the position that we have. It's to fund the government, finish the appropriations process, deal with the issues the Democrats want to deal with after we keep the government open.
Okay, so all sides taken to the TV to the tube to get their message out. Social media. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says serious negotiations need to take place when they all meet today.
But the fundamental question hasn't been answered yet, and we'll see on Monday. Are they serious about negotiating with us in a real way? Now, if the president at this meeting is going to rant and just yell at Democrats and talk about all his alleged grievances and say this, that, and the other thing, we won't get anything done. But my hope is it'll be a serious negotiation. We didn't shut the government down when they were in the minority. You know why? Because I, as majority leader, sat down and negotiated with them. And we had to come to a compromise where neither side got everything it wanted. So if they're serious, I'm hopeful we can get something real done.
Okay, so last week a meeting between all sides was canceled. This one seems to be still on as of this morning at 5:22. The Trump administration asking the Supreme Court to rule on the president's executive order seeking to end automatic birthright citizenship.
The administration is asking for a definitive ruling on whether the executive order is constitutional. The current interpretation of the 14th Amendment allows anyone born on U.S. soil to be granted citizenship except children of foreign diplomats. Meanwhile, the Trump administration argues birthright citizenship does not apply to the children of temporary legal visitors or illegal immigrants. I'm Jim Roop.
5:23, Vice President J.D. Vance says it's time for Russia to come to the table and talk peace. Vance calling on the Russians, he says, to wake up and accept reality.
The Russians are killing a lot of people. They're losing a lot of people. They don't have much to show for it. We remain committed to peace, but it takes two to tango. And unfortunately, what we've seen over the last couple of weeks, the Russians have refused to sit down with any bilateral meetings.
The vice president's comments come after President Trump met with Ukrainian President Zelensky at the United Nations last week. It marked, actually, it's the fourth time the leaders have met since Trump has returned to office, and as they look for an end to the nation's war with Russia.
Our simple message right now, the Russians are not gaining a lot. This war is terrible for their economy, and they have to ask themselves how many more people are they willing to lose, and how many more people are they willing to kill for very little military advantage.
Now, the vice president was on Fox News talking about this yesterday. He was asked, is it time for the Americans to send Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine so they can use them?
It's something the president's going to make the final determination on. What the president is going to do is what's in the best interest of the United States of America.
And President Trump will meet with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at the White House today. Tony Waterman, the correspondent, reports the meeting comes just days after the Israeli leader told the UN General Assembly that Israel will keep up the fight in Gaza until Hamas is completely destroyed.
Trump increasingly has been putting pressure on Netanyahu to bring this war to an end. Trump has imaged himself as a peacemaker. He wants to bring this war to an end as soon as possible.
Now, this will be President Trump's fourth face-to-face with Netanyahu since just January. 5:24, President Trump's transportation secretary announcing tighter standards now for big rig truckers. Sean Duffy specifically mentioning a 17-vehicle pileup in Austin, Texas that happened in March.
A truck driver failed to brake and crashed into a long line of traffic. They killed 5 people, including 2 children.
The driver was a citizen of Ethiopia who was in the U.S. on a work visa.
A post-crash investigation revealed a history of unsafe lane changes and multiple violations of hour of service rules.
Yeah, the arrest report suggested that he had a CDL from a different state, mostly spoke in his native language. Sean Duffy says that all states must pause issuing commercial driver's licenses to non-citizens until they can comply with tough new rules. A new review published in Biochemical Pharmacology adds to evidence suggesting that drinking coffee regularly can help protect and restore liver health.
Consuming coffee is believed to slow liver disease's progression to fibrosis, cirrhosis, and hepatocellular carcinoma because of its mix of bioactive compounds. Coffee also helps balance the gut microbiome. The review also points out that the beneficial effects of coffee are dose-dependent. Consuming over 5 cups of coffee daily can increase bad cholesterol levels. I'm Lisa Carton.
Over 5 cups, that's a lot of coffee. What is the world's healthiest food while we talk about coffee?
A study from William Patterson University in New Jersey, published with support from the CDC, has found the world's healthiest food:
That food is the vegetable watercress. Researchers analyzed dozens of foods against 17 essential nutrients, including fiber, protein, and iron, and vitamins like C, E, and K. They found that 100 grams of watercress delivers 100% of the recommended daily intake. Watercress contains more vitamin C than oranges and lemons, and more calcium than milk. I'm Rob Martier.
It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
Talking the news with Noam Laden.
All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now,
Talking the news with Noam
on 77 WABC.
Yes, that's me. Good morning. It is Monday, September 29th. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. A mix of sun and clouds today. Another beautiful day on the way. High 78. Tonight and overnight, cloudy, low 65, and then Tuesday sunshine, high 81. If you are walking out the door with us right now, so happy you are. 66 clear in Hempstead out on Long Island. It's 60 and clear in Boonton over in New Jersey, and it's 64 and partly cloudy right outside our Midtown studios. WABC News Time 5:39. Probably didn't come as a shock to you yesterday when you heard that Mayor Adams had dropped his bid for re-election. Now setting up a three-way race between the front-runner Zoran Mamdani, Andrew Cuomo, of course, the former governor, and Republican and Guardian Angels founder Curtis Sliwa. They'll all take on each other to lead America's largest city. Adams, who took office in January of 2022, announced he was dropping out in a video that he dropped in social media. He talked about his accomplishments, and then he warned New Yorkers, without mentioning his name, about voting for Zoran Mamdani.
Too often, insidious forces use local government to advance divisive agendas with little regard for how it hurts everyday New Yorkers. Major change is welcome and necessary, but beware of those who claim the answer to destroy the very system we built together over generations. That is not change. That is chaos.
Now, the mayor did not endorse anybody in the race. Andrew Cuomo, the thought is he'll get some of the support, but you would think that Curtis would get some of the support as well. Here was Andrew Cuomo talking about Zoran Mamdani yesterday.
If Mr. Mamdani were to succeed, New York would not be New York. The intolerance that Mr. Mamdani represents, the judgmentalism, the division that he causes among the people in New York, the city would be splintered.
Now, the end of the Adams campaign is the end of what has been a tumultuous year for the mayor. He faced that federal corruption scandal, criticism over his relationship with the Trump White House, political consultants weighing in.
He made some serious mistakes. Some serious managerial mistakes. He surrounded himself with the wrong people. He wanted to keep it real. He wanted to make sure that everyone knew who was the boss and was loyal to a fault. You know, then you have the indictment and the agreement to accept President Trump's support. That was a kiss of death.
Okay, so the way the polls stand right now, Zoran Mamdani has this huge lead over second place Andrew Cuomo, followed by Curtis Sliwa. We don't have to worry about Mayor Adams, who's out of the race now. So there is pressure, I guess, on Curtis Sliwa to drop out of the race and make it a two-man race. But even when they do that, the polls have showed that Zoran Mamdani wins in a two-man race. But here was Curtis yesterday again saying, who are you kidding? I am the Republican nominee. There's no way I'm dropping out of the race.
It's Zoran Mamdani versus Curtis Sliwa. Cuomo had his shot. He lost. So clear the field. It's law and order, Curtis Sliwa versus turn the criminals loose, Zoran Mamdani. 37 days to go. Let's get it on.
Okay, so Zoran Mamdani, of course, they asked him, what do you think about the mayor dropping out of the race or facing Cuomo one-on-one? And he says, bring him on. I beat him once, I'll beat him again.
Look, I can tell you that Andrew Cuomo wanted me to be his opponent in the primary, and we beat him by 13 points. And so I continue to be confident of our chances on November 4th to deliver a city that actually puts working people first and not one that has been led into this crisis by people just like Andrew Cuomo.
Okay, and then you had just everyday New Yorkers like you and I weighing in on the race.
Cuomo, I mean, look at his past. He's a bad guy. But Mamdani, I'll tell you what, it scares the hell out of me.
I think it'll have an impact.
No.
You think Mamdani will win anyway?
Yes, I do. I think he has the hearts of New Yorkers.
I think that Sliwa needs to drop out as well, and they need to partner together somehow, and then it may be possible.
And, of course, the big issue is all these names stay on the ballot because it's too late to redo them. So Mayor Adams will be on the ballot anyway, even though he dropped out. Jim Walden, who weighed in yesterday, he'll be on the ballot, too. He was the independent that was, like one digit in the polls.
I think Eric Adams did the right thing for New Yorkers by dropping out. I've been saying since July that there needs to be unity among the candidates to defeat Zohran Mamdani.
All right. Well, at least it gets a little more interesting. Now it is a three-way race. 5:43. Just a heartbreaking crash up in the Hudson Valley over the weekend, Sunday morning in Clarkstown. This was early Sunday. A car involved in what they called a serious motor crash. 3 people killed. Neighbors heard the car crash. It was one car crash, and they said it hit a tree, but it was so loud they didn't know what was going on.
I actually thought it was a transformer blowing. That's that kind of sound that it made. A little while later, I see lights flashing in my room. I go out to the bathroom window, and I see it's like Christmas outside. There's lights flashing everywhere. So it must have been something serious.
Okay, so the initial report we're getting, and we couldn't get confirmation before we came to air, was that it was 3 teenagers that were killed in this crash. It just makes it god-awful. It hit a tree, this car, early Sunday morning. They're still putting together the investigation, but there was a lot of shocked bystanders gathered Sunday afternoon to place flowers at the base of the tree where the vehicle crashed. A man said that he was told that the 3 people were all teenagers and that one of the victims was around 15 years old.
And I heard a loud bang, almost like a gunshot. So I actually had to run inside, because I wasn't sure exactly what it was. And then from there, about an hour or 2 later, I went outside and I saw the police there.
Yeah, of course, as more details come in on this crash, we will pass them on to you. 5:44, Nassau County Police say a woman's body was found yesterday morning at Milburn Pond in Baldwin. Detectives say officers had responded to reports of a body in the water. This was about 8 o'clock yesterday. The woman pronounced dead at the scene. They didn't tell us a whole lot more about what they know about her. Here were some people who saw police racing in to collect this body.
Yes, we're going to need a little bit more of a police presence.
I'm concerned because something must have went down for a lot of cops to come.
Yeah, police say they're working to figure out how the woman died, how her body ended up in the pond.
Coral House right there. It's where people get married, take their pictures and everything, so it is kind of messed up.
Yes, so we're waiting for an ID on the body. We weren't able to get one before we came to air, but of course, as we get more info on that story, we'll pass it on to you. And in a moment, we'll stay out on Long Island to tell you about a mosquito you definitely don't want to be bitten by. We'll get into that in just a moment, but first, 5:45, let's head over to the 77 WABC Sports Desk, and I think I have his name right this time. Here's Justin Elliott.
Thank you, Noam Layton. We'll start out in Miami. The Mets completed their second half collapse on the final day of the Major League Baseball season in the form of a 4-0 loss to the Marlins, failing to make the playoffs and yielding the NL's final wild card spot to the Cincinnati Reds, who lost at Milwaukee but held a head-to-head tiebreaker after winning the season series against New York. Mets starter Sean Manaea fanned 3 in an inning and 2/3, hitless of work, but with little margin for error. Manager Carlos Mendoza pulled him following his second walk in the second inning, and reliever Huáscar Brazoban got out of the inning. Mets used 8 pitchers, including closer Edwin Diaz, who pitched scoreless innings in the 5th and the 6th. Francisco Lindor doubled in the 7th for 1 of 5 Mets hits, but New York went 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position and stranded 10 overall. The season ended when Lindor grounded into a game-ending double play. The Mets were a Major League best 45-24 through June 12th, but went 38-55 the rest of the season. As for the Yankees in the Bronx, they finished 1 win shy of repeating as AL East champions and lost the division title to Toronto on a tiebreaker, despite beating the Orioles 3-2 behind a pair of Ben Rice home runs for a season-ending 8-game winning streak. Toronto beat Tampa Bay 13-4, and the Yankees and Blue Jays both finished 94-68. Toronto won the division on a tiebreaker because of its 8-5 advantage in the season series. New York will host Boston in a best-of-3 wildcard series starting tomorrow, with the winner advancing to a division series starting at the Blue Jays next weekend. Aaron Judge went 1 for 4 and won his first batting title, leading the major leagues at .331. He had 53 homers and 114 RBI. Devin Williams pitched a 1-hit 8th, and David Bednar finished for his 27th save in 30 chances. New York started 35-20, slumped during a 25-34 stretch, then closed 34-14. Up next for the Yankees, the ace Max Fried will get the start in tomorrow's wildcard series opener against Boston's Garrett Crochet. to MetLife. Jackson Dart threw a touchdown pass and ran for another score in an impressive NFL starting debut, leading the Giants past the previously undefeated LA Chargers 21-18 for New York's first win of the season. The excitement by the Giants was a bit tempered by the status of wide receiver Malik Neighbors, who was carted off the field in the second quarter with a knee injury. Head coach Brian Dable didn't have an immediate update after the game, but the fear is that Neighbors has torn his ACL and undergo an MRI today.
I heard the rumor is they're going to bring in Odell Beckham. Have you heard that?
I have not heard
they're
that.
They're going to bring him back.
Where'd you hear that? Mars?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yes, it was Mars. That's what I heard. I don't know. I heard it somewhere. It may not be true, but there is a thought maybe to bring him back to the Giants.
Well, yeah, but I mean, at this point, he's no Malik Neighbors. Come on now.
No, but you need somebody. Neighbors is clearly going to be out for the season. They need somebody.
Yeah, well, not clearly. You can hold them to a prayer today. Noam Laden. Zelmarai could miraculously come back negative. It did not look too good, though. I mean, the second he grabs his knee like that, you fear the worst if you're a Giants fan. So. Yeah. Hoping for the best, but no, I don't think Odell Beckham Jr. is going to be the to solve all their problems. He's not going to come in and save the day. No,
but maybe Jackson Dart is. Maybe he's.
Maybe he will. He was good in his debut. No, you didn't.
Oh, you kidding? We were going crazy.
Yeah,
great.
That Russian
something to root for.
Russian touchdown leading off the game. That was nice. Yes. A lot of high energy out of the Giants yesterday.
I think I'm going to get tickets for that Thursday night Eagles game because I'm feeling that confident about the Giants now.
Oh, really? That'll come back to bite you, man.
Yeah, probably will. Yeah.
The Jets will get their Week 4 contest underway tonight out in Miami. They're up against the Dolphins. Dolphins, they're 2.5-point favorites. That's game 1 of 2 for your Monday Night Football slate tonight. The Bengals and Broncos get underway out in Denver at 8:15. Broncos, they're 7.5-point favorites. That is your Sports Know, man. I'm Justin Ellick, 77 WABC.
WABC News Time 5:51. Former Mayor Rudy Giuliani has reached a settlement with Dominion Voting Systems in the company's billion-dollar lawsuit.
The agreement has led to a voluntary dismissal of the case, and each party will cover its own legal fees. No details have been announced regarding the settlement's payouts or obligations. The suit alleged Giuliani, an ally of President Trump, spread false claims of election fraud following the 2020 election, which hurt Dominion's reputation. The resolution comes days after the settlement of another defamation lawsuit, this one brought by Dominion against former Trump lawyer Sidney Powell. I'm Liz Radabali for 77 WABC News.
Out to Long Island, New York State Health Department investigating a possible case of the rare mosquito-borne virus called chikungunya, which sounds like a meal I had recently, but it's not. Officials say a 60-year-old woman from Hempstead telling the New York Times that she tested positive for chikungunya in a preliminary test, and she's had severe joint pain. She also says that she has not traveled anywhere overseas recently, which is why local authorities, local health officials are worried that something might be going on here.
The mosquito that normally carries it is now able to live in the northeast of the United States, where it previously could not. And its cousin is now also able to carry some of these viruses that are all in the same category as yellow fever. When we normally see dengue or chikungunya in the United States, it's from someone who's recently returned from an area where there are infected mosquitoes. So usually in the tropics.
Yeah, so the good part here is the virus is not transmitted person to person. It's only by mosquitoes. But, of course, the question is how many mosquitoes, if there are any, are infected with chikungunya. The symptoms include fever, chills, but mostly joint pain, at least the way the woman described it.
There can be chronic kind of arthritis, chronic inflammation of your joints for months to even years after the infection.
Yeah, in fact, experts say there are vaccine studies underway, but the best method now is surveillance. That means more testing of the local mosquitoes to see if any of them come up positive. And then, of course, you have the basic prevention of just spraying yourself with some sort of mosquito repellent. Maybe a good idea so you don't get chikungunya. 5:54 while we're out on Long Island. Team Europe taking the Ryder Cup back across the Atlantic Ocean, leaving Americans to search for answers in what's becoming a lopsided series. So the Americans did show a pulse on Sunday because they were losing all weekend, and it looked like they were going to make a comeback. Here were a lot of fans out on Long Island over the weekend.
We've got life. America. Biggest comeback ever. Let's make it happen.
Don't count us out. Don't count us out.
Love it. Let's go, boys. Bring it home.
All right, but that comeback was short-lived. Europe's best players, starring at Bethpage Black, and they were able to hold on and win, and just European fans that were there were celebrating all last night.
It's the best feeling I ever had in the whole of my life. Why? We won the Ryder Cup.
Fantastic horse, but Europe have done it in foreign soil for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, all right, so they were winners. 5:54. Let's go from Long Island to Baywidge, Brooklyn, where neighbors left shaken by a fire that took place in an apartment of a well-known man in the neighborhood. His name is Richard Ritchie Martin. And he's known for opening up his windows and playing the national anthem and celebrating when the Yankees win. Well, a fire broke out in his apartment over the weekend. He's in a wheelchair. He's a Korean veteran. And thank God the FDNY were able to get to him and pull him out of the fire. Here was people in the neighborhood.
As I came down the block, I saw how bad it was over there. And, it smelled like bad. You could really tell there was a fire.
We heard the sirens, so we went out, and there was just, this big fire, everywhere. The windows were, shot out. They just broke.
Yeah, neighbors say Martin was carried out through a window. Later, they confirmed that unfortunately his cat passed away. For many, though, they know him well. He's just like this character. Maybe you have one of these guys in your neighborhood. And so they're all praying for him today.
After most Yankees games, he'll scream out the scores outside his window. And he'd also play the national anthem a lot. Richie, you're a good guy. You're great for the community. And I hope you stay safe and recover quickly.
Yeah, so the latest update we could get on him is, unfortunately, he's still in critical condition. No word what started that fire. New Jersey officials have euthanized a coyote after 2 people were attacked while walking dogs. First attack happened in Saddle River on Thursday night. A man reported that a coyote had attacked him while he was walking his dog. On Friday morning, a worker near Chestnut Road and North Church Road, also in Saddle River, was attacked as well as he was walking his dog. So they had to go out and kill this coyote. People in the neighborhood had seen it day and night.
Oddly enough, they're very courageous and walking around in neighborhood backyards during the daytime in broad daylight. Can be, very intimidating when you see them and they give you the stare down.
It was definitely shocking, not to be, the girl who cried coyote, but I did see it.
Yeah, awfully frightening. Now, both victims are being treated for their injuries, including what are bite wounds, but they took that coyote down over the weekend.
Thanks for listening to the News Hour with Noam Laden. You can hear the News Hour with Noam Laden weekday mornings at 5 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on?